Hi guys, Michelle Jones in Cuppa with Michelle. I hope you guys have grabbed your cuppa. I'm mum today because I've just spent a whole couple of weeks with my grandkids and my daughter who have come to visit Fiji. So I am feeling the love, feeling family even until now. Well, mind you, we just dropped them off like a few hours ago. So, mum. Yes. So don't forget, grab your cuppa because we have an amazing discussion today with Michelle Van Mulken. I hope I pronounced that correctly, Michelle. And Michelle is joining us from Belgium. So she is Dutch, living in Belgium with her son. And I would love to hear from her challenges going into Belgium, setting up practice, living away from family. Though in Europe, everything's quite close, it's not the same when you're not living in your own home. And though she's not moving as often as I am, a move is a move. So if you guys are watching and if you've moved to a new city or a new home because of your husband's work or for family, watch this, listen to this. If you've got the same challenges, I'm sure this will resonate with you. And, share your thoughts, share your ideas, share your experiences with us. So, Michelle, thank you for joining us today. It is about 9 in the morning there, and it is about 8 p.m. here in the
Yeah,
evening.
it's 10 a.m. here.
10 a.m. Okay. So 10 a.m. in Belgium with internet, with all this technology we have right now. You can talk to anyone, you can build businesses from anywhere. So again, thank you for joining me.
Yes, very happy to be here.
So, Michelle, you moved for your husband. But before anything else, before we go into your story, I think the first question I've got is when you were a little girl, when you had your dreams, did you ever in your dreams as a young girl see yourself living somewhere else aside from where you grew up?
Oh yeah, I did. I love to travel. I love to travel. I never thought I would end up in Belgium though. That's probably the one country where I didn't see myself ending up. But yeah, love makes you do crazy things. But yeah, yeah, I lived in Australia for 7 years too, and I've traveled a lot because I love traveling. So yeah, as a kid, I couldn't wait to fly out the nest, and so I had that in me. Even though, like, as I grew older, I've learned to really, really love and appreciate where I came from and my family. And yeah, the older I got, the more connected I felt with them. Yeah.
Sure. Tell us a little bit about your story. What made you move? What were the challenges during that move and, creating your home, building your home?
I had just moved, well, not just like I moved in 2016. I came back from Australia, and in 2017, I finally thought like I'll go on a dating app, and that's how I met my ex now. But at the time the father of my son, and we fell in love, and he already had a son from a previous relationship. Son was going to school here in Belgium, so I had nothing really to tie me. So I thought, my family was still like 45 minutes away, so I thought, okay, I'll just move, but it is a complete different world. Some people might think, oh, Belgium, Netherlands, same, but it wasn't. The people are really, really different. Like the Dutch are quite direct, very outspoken. When we walk on the street and see people, always say hi, even though we don't know them, we just say hi. And in Belgium, I can still remember, especially where I was living in Hasselt, when I just moved. Now I live in the forest, but before I was living in Hasselt in the city. If I would say hi to people, they would look at me like, "Oh my God, do I know you?" Like I would actually startle people just by saying hi. So it was very much just like, okay, you don't say hi to people here, you just nod. That's just to be nice, but anything more, that's just weird, if you don't know the person. So, those subtle things, and but also setting up a practice and a business here. In the Netherlands, everything is quite streamlined, very clear. But here there are so many rules and regulations, and it's all kind of scattered. So you have to be there for this and there for that and there, So it was very, very different. And also in terms of the mindset of people and the way people are, and the subtleties of how you need to approach people or how you need to. It was very different. So I had to, yeah, it is a complete different culture, even though our countries are so close to one another. I found that.
Have to learn the language? Is it a different language that's spoken over there?
It's a different dialect, I would say. They say they speak Dutch, but it doesn't sound Dutch to me at all. It's a complete different dialect. But they also speak French. Not that I'm very good in my French, not at all, actually. But yeah.
Tell us a bit about your journey with your career. So you are a massage therapist. You're also a coach, right? Talk to me about your journey with your career towards how you've needed to reinvent yourself to be able to live the life that you're foreseeing here in Belgium.
Well, just briefly, I think that is very relevant to this question. So before, when I left the Netherlands and I moved to Australia, which is also, difficult in terms of then you have to learn a completely new language and all the subtleties, especially when it comes to jokes and things like that. Like I'd be like, oh, play with words. I'd be like, oh, I thought my English was good, but this is a whole other level.
Yeah.
Um, so I moved to Australia to do my PhD in health promotion. So that is my background in public health, and so when I moved to Australia and worked there as a researcher and did the whole academic thing, and then I was a bit done with academia. Then I came back to the Netherlands at first and was more into teaching and doing those kind of projects. But still, like it was still jobs that would require between 40 and 60 hours a week, to do it well. When my son was born, I was like, I don't want this. I don't want this. But I saw no other way because, even if they said, this is a part-time position of 32 hours, it was never just 32 hours. It's still, like, yeah, you are at work 32 hours, but then there's still marking. There's still, like all this other admin stuff to do when you are home. And I was just finding myself on the edge of a burnout. And then my partner then all of a sudden mentioned to me, like, I want out of the relationship. Just from one day to the next. I just couldn't do it anymore. So I just, I was actually relieved when they said at work, like, oh, we've seen you struggle the last 2 months, and so we're a bit worried, and therefore we're not going to renew your contract. In a way, I was relieved because I was a bit disappointed, of course, but then I thought, this isn't the way anyway. So I knew that this isn't the way anyway. Like, and so it gave me time to really feel into, so what is the way forward from here? And so I started to set up my massage practice. And I had, during that whole time, I had various coaching degrees in life coaching, nature coaching, and personal leadership coaching. And I thought, like, oh, let's just set up a business around coaching and massage therapy. It's actually Lomi massage that I do, because I felt like that was the most holistic way of doing a massage, like at least that I've experienced. And so I thought, what a great way to help people who are stuck in whatever way to coach them. But as you know, probably when people are stuck, it also is somewhere trapped in the body, right? So you're also working with the body and releasing all the tension and everything that's there. So I really like that. But, when just the whole setting something up in a country that you're not used to, like when after the separation, like his family and also his friends, like, it's like they never existed, Like, so I had no network all of a sudden. Like all of my closer friends, they were all living in the Netherlands. And thank God I still had neighbors who I still kind of speak to, but even though it's less regular than when we were together. Um, and so it's yeah, it was a very lonely setting for me for a long time.
Mm.
And trying to set up a business and attract clients and wearing all the hats and doing the admin, it was just a hassle.
Mm.
It was such a hassle. And I just and at one point, I was sitting like at the end of a long day and I thought, even if I am very successful and I have, say 4 massage clients per day, or, even if I'm, I was just thinking like, even if I, have 4 massage clients a day and then 2 coachees a day, that's long days. And I'd still just be making enough to pay the bills and maybe go on a holiday, but that's it. And I'm like, so I'm working my ass off and until I die, and that's it. And I had such great dreams and visions of what I wanted to create. And I'm like, that's not gonna get me there at all. And so that's when I started to investigate and doing things in a different way. And yeah.
Oh, I so understand what you're saying. Every time we moved, I did that in the beginning as well, where I would set up my clinic. And when you set up a clinic, I've got my herbs, I've got my supplements, I've got all these different gadgets that I need as well. So the investment that you put in, plus every new place, you sell yourself basically, right? You promote yourself, you find connections, you find people that will come and see you and talk about you afterwards. When we move from wherever we are, I've got to close shop. I've got to restart again in the next place. And it's just, oh my gosh, exhausting. And like you were saying earlier, with your job, you'd be working what, 40 to 60 hours a week. That
Mm,
was what I was doing, in my
mm,
clinic. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is a job. This is not a business, right? And we
yeah.
always say, well, if you've got your business, you can dictate the time. Not when you're doing that. You're being paid
No.
by the number of hours that you work, and then you're still working for those people so that you can actually have a great practice and people respect what you're doing. And yet, like I was in the health industry, but I was getting burned out. Like I would
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember moving from Colombo, Sri Lanka, and going back to Canberra in Australia. And because of the time difference, I would get calls at 1 a.m. from my patients. This was ridiculous. And I think after the, I don't know, second week of that happening, I just turned off my phone. And my husband was saying, oh, why do you do that? I go, I'm not going to survive this. I can't get up and think that it's an emergency. And it's just someone saying, oh, I've got this, wondering if we could organize a time to meet up. And I thought, oh, you could have just texted me that, or you could have just emailed me about that, right? And just so hard. So it takes a lot. It takes a lot when you're a mom. It takes a lot when you're someone moving to a new place. But it also takes a lot if you're not in the right business or the right job to start off with. Now,
Mm.
you've just mentioned that you've discovered this new way of running a business, new way of creating money. And could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, because like you said, running a business, like I wanted more time freedom, right? I wanted more time with my son, especially after the separation. I was like, well, I'm only going to see him, like we have a 60-40 rule, so 60% he's with me, but it's not like all the time anymore. So whenever he's with me, I want to be with him. I don't want to be like, oh, mommy needs to work. You just have to entertain yourself. And, so I just wanted as much time as possible with him and be there for him, but also, like thrive myself and not feel like I'm on the edge of a burnout every time. Because, if you want to be present for your son and every other second you're working, you know, it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. And so I've looked in into various ways of yeah, creating a more passive income as such that I felt like is going to bring in money that is not going to, you know, like I set something up and then, you know, it needs maintenance, of course, and you need to be a part of it, but it's not exchanging time for money the whole time. You know, I was looking for ways where I could set things up so I could, you know, make money while I sleep, make money while I'm out on an adventure with my son, or, you know, just on my own. Um, and so I was looking for ways, and then I actually just by chance, because I was also looking into improving the quality of my water because I live in quite an old house and it has a lot of rust, and it so I was looking into water filtration systems, and then I saw this post uh, of a friend of mine that I know through Facebook, and she was talking about enagic and about, you know, kangaroo
Hmm.
and about, you know, all of that. And I've been following her for a while. And so, because she's very much like me, a very nature loving mama, and, you know, her background as a doula. And so I felt very strong resonance with her. And so we started chatting, and, you know, and as a, you know, researcher, you know, I had to obviously research all the products and read all the scientific articles about it. And, you know, I drove, like, I think it was a 4 hour drive from where I am to The Hague in the Netherlands, because there was someone who had a K8 machine.
Wow.
Um, just to test the level of, you know, molecular hydrogen in the water, because that was the
Okay.
most important. It's like, oh, if it's got that, then it's got the scientific backing that this is actually, you know, something really good. And so so when that all fell into place and I saw the business model in terms of commissions and also the way to do it in a very automated way, you know, with all the funnels in place, I just thought, yeah, this is the way. This is the way.
Oh, I love that. When you reinvent yourself, I mean, a lot of people are worried about doing that because
Hmm.
when you jump into a business that you don't know about, you need to learn everything about it. You lose a lot of time before you make money. Did you not worry about that? Were you not concerned about, okay, well, this isn't a sure thing? With any business, it always relies on the amount of time you put in. The your belief in yourself is huge if you want to succeed in a business. And sometimes those two things turn people off. What was it that you saw? Why did you know that this was for you?
Well, you know, like when I started, you know, because I said, you know, like my contract wasn't renewed. So I was, um, you know, I don't know how it's called here, but you know, when you are, because it's kind of like unemployment benefits that you basically have paid for yourself, you know, your salary, part of your salary goes into that, you know, in case you get unemployed, that they pay you from there.
Hmm.
So I had this monthly stability, I guess, this income coming in while I was trying to build this business in the beginning. So I think that for me was a, yeah, very nice way of experimenting and see whether it works, and without completely freaking out and needing, like, oh my God, I need to sell, or I need this, or I need that, and coming from that sense of lack and fear. And, you know, so because I knew that I had a bit of time to set this business up, and I had this income coming in that was enough to pay all the bills, I could have fun with it, and I could really feel into it and have that time to really do the research, because, yeah, like, you still have to know your products. You still have to understand the system and how things work, and how to leverage also social media in a way, and also, like, I like to do events, you know, like host retreats and do these nature retreat events, but I'll also bring my water when I do them. So I was in a way continuing, but having this additional income stream through these products.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So when you go about running and learning about this and still doing what you love doing as well with your nature trips and your massage, I'm assuming is something that you're still continuing right now. Do you feel like where you're at right now is what's gonna take you to the dream? And what is the
Yeah. 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 So because, when that separation happened, I felt so alone. I can remember, even though my family was there, they were so angry. They were more angry with my ex-partner than I was, I think. And so I wasn't really interested in just hearing about, from them how terrible it was and how awful. I wanted someone to help me and not just make me even feel worse about things, I mean, it was all said with the best intentions, but I was missing that support. And then because, like I tried to get appointments for EMDR and things like that. And that was the funny thing. Like all the people that I reached out to, they were full. They had a client stop. I don't know what's going on here in Belgium, but they were, either I was put on a waiting list for 3 months or they just didn't take any new clients anymore because they were full. And so I was like, what is happening? And so that's when I just went into the online world to look for help and to look. And that's at one point I really started to, as things got better for me, and I felt more, because especially if there's also, like in my case, if there is betrayal, you just go through the whole process of grief and shock and anger and all of that. And once you start to heal, it opens up this space for transformation. Because pain, I think if pain really hurts enough, you either, and parts of me have died, but that was just, it wasn't mine. Like it was just, like a mask that I put on to be functional in this. And so everything that wasn't me died in that process. But you can, if something terrible happens, you can just stand there, looking at the rubble. Because if a marriage or a relationship where kids are involved, if that ends, it really feels, and especially with betrayal, it feels like everything has been blown up to shatters. And you can stay there and look at the rubble and mourn that rubble and grieve. And there's a period where I've done that, obviously, but then you cannot patch things together. You have to start new. You have to start all over again and build. And this time I wanted to build a very solid foundation, and that's when I also started to dream, like what do I want my life to look like? And how do I really want to be of service in this world and to other women? Because I've always, also my coaching and my massage practice, it's very much, for women. And so I really start to feel into, so what is it that I want to create? And then came this really strong vision of wanting to create a sanctuary in nature for women and their children, where women can fall apart because their kids are just there playing with other kids, and they can fall apart and heal and process and grieve. And because I think a lot of women feel like we can't fall apart. We can't just, because we have to be functional.
Yeah.
We're not just a mom. We are the sole provider. We have to make sure that all the things are done in the house in terms of income, in terms of, but it's so necessary to have that time to fall apart, to look at, okay, who am I really at my core? And yeah, what life do I want to live? And what needs to happen in terms of transformation in order to start thriving and have the life that I really want for myself and my kids. And so yeah, so that sanctuary nature where women are really guided towards that transformation to thriving again and from a very authentic place. that is my true vision that came up, and I felt like this was for me the only vehicle, the only business model that I've seen so far that I believe in that is going to take me there. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. We women need to support each other. We need to
Yeah.
raise each other up. And I that story resonates a lot with me because I my first husband left me when I was 2 months pregnant with my second child. And
Wow.
and I couldn't fall apart because I had my daughter and I was going to give birth to the second child. And oh my goodness, I remember how difficult it was and how I had to just be brave. And that's what you feel as a mom, right? You want to protect your children. But what we don't realize is we need the support more than ever in that difficult time. We need to be able to just rebuild ourselves while falling apart at the same time.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. That's you are very raw in that sharing. So thank you. So with a lot of women out there that are still,
Mhm.
trapped in figuring out what their next step is, probably in a different place, out away from home, away from their husbands even, what would you say to them if they're in the situation where they're all confused and trying to figure out, is there a better way or am I going to get over this? What do you have to share with them from your experience?
I felt alone a lot of times, and I can remember that for me, nature, just go, like the first thing, just go into nature. Wherever you are, find a spot in nature that makes you feel home, supported, and just sit there. Just sit there and just whatever you need. Maybe rest, maybe ask a question. Just hold that question lightly, and I always feel, and this is just, I guess, where you have to be open to that and don't think, so it has to be your cup of tea. But for me, it's nature. For me, it's just asking that question. And then, messages will come to me, and yeah, or I just do creative writing where I sit at a spot where I feel like I need to be. Like when you go into nature, with a particular need of support or whatever, just look around and see what is drawing, what looks really appealing, what is drawing you in, what is, so really let yourself feel drawn to places that are calling out to you. It's nothing airy fairy or anything. It's just, just places that you think, oh, that looks really nice. Oh, that looks really appealing. And just go there and just sit there and either sit there and hold the question that you have lightly in your heart while you are open to receive messages. Or if you are more aligned with, for example, creative writing, sometimes I would just like, there's this one particular, it's a magnolia tree. And so in the beginning, when I sat with that magnolia tree, I would just say, I would just write down, the tree is saying, the tree is saying, the tree is saying, until words would come. And I'm not thinking about it. I'm just writing, writing. And if nothing is coming, I would again write, the tree is saying, the tree is saying, until new words are coming. And I've done this with also with very rational, scientific background people who are at first like, and they were like, it's amazing what I've written down. And they were reading it out to me. And so I feel like nature has always been, in whatever situation that I've been in, where I was like, wow, I can't see how to move on or forward from this. At least in nature, there's always a place where I feel home and safe. And that's where I would start, even though there's no other human network around me that I could rely on.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I'm a nature person as well. But to those of you that are wondering, what the hell are we talking about? Because I know for a fact, like when I tell my daughter, I remember a funny story with my daughter. We went to this amazing school back in Canberra, and we said, hey, May, because we call her May. Hey, May, can you see yourself in the school? She goes, oh my God, it's too much nature for me. And that was the word that came out of her mouth. But now with kids, she's got this beautiful home with chickens, with a dog, with plants, with strawberries. And I said to her, well, you've come a long way for someone that said, this is too much nature for me. You actually enjoy nature. And when they were here, they loved snorkeling, they loved being with the dolphins, they loved doing all these things. So when Michelle says, look for your spot or be with nature, it doesn't matter what kind or what you feel safe around. It's just you just need to see what's calling for you. So with
Yeah.
me, I just want my plants. I want to be with my plants when I go hiking, and are amongst um my herbs, places where there are a lot of herbs. I feel really relaxed. I feel really drawn to those
Yeah.
to, to that area. I can't say drawn to the herbs, not really the herbs, but it's like just that feeling that you have around it, because everything emits energy, and it's the energy that you connect most with, and that will always relax you and
Yeah.
allow you to actually open up. It's always usually when we're very busy, when things are happening to us, we can't hear anything that's calling for us, or I call
Mhm.
it the whispers around us. We can't hear any of it. So we need to be somewhere where we can calm ourselves down and just listen. I love that
Yeah.
advice. So
Yeah, and
other thing that
it's
I
also not necessarily, I was gonna say, like, because people like, so you're talking to the tree, and I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm talking to the tree or just to myself, because when you are relaxed and you connect with nature more deeply, you're also connecting more deeply to yourself,
right.
to your own innate wisdom. So where the words come from, I don't know, but it sounds really wise to me. So no matter whether it's a tree or it's my own inner wisdom, but I'll listen to it. And
Also know we are very strong. When you get to that point where you're saying, oh, I don't know what to do, what am I going to do next? When you start questioning, that means you're ready for that next step. That means that you're brave enough to find out, okay, what's that next step? So acknowledge that. Thank yourself for that. Sometimes we need to give ourselves a pat on the back. When we are going through a lot of difficulties, a lot of people just shut down. And if that's you, if you've shut down in the past, that's okay. After that shutdown and you're ready to open yourself up, that means you're brave enough to get on to that next step. And again, community is important. So connect with women that have gone through the same things. Give us a
yeah,
call, connect with us, and we'd love to be able to help you out.
and
Also,
there's so many Facebook groups as well.
that's
Just, like for support, I found so much support through that as well.
that's right. And it's when, usually it's when things happen to you that new things open up to you, that you find new communities, new friendships, new ways of going about your life or your business or anything else. And it's also because when everything is going smoothly with one thing that you're so used to, you can't see what's going wrong with what you're used to. It's only when it breaks down and you go through all that drama, that when you get out of it and you start questioning, are you able to assess, okay, what actually went wrong? How can I correct it? How can I have a better future, whether it's with your children or yourself or in a place, in a new place? All these questions start coming up. Acknowledge that you're ready for that next step. Acknowledge that you're amazing and that you've got it in you to actually get people that you need to connect with. You'll find the community that you'll need to connect with, because it's just, we've got that innate ability to rebuild ourselves and to just thrive. We were designed to thrive. Ah, Michelle, thank you. I love, love, love that chat. So
Yeah.
what cuppa
Same.
are you drinking? What's your cup of choice?
Well, I'm actually at the moment just drinking a cup of tea made with a Kangen water. So that is, and it's just herbs from my own garden. So I have, what's it called in English? Yarrow.
Oh my
So
God,
I have
I love
yarrow.
yarrow. Yes, that's
Same.
that's one of my favorite herbs.
Same. Same. I love yarrow, so I'm drinking my yarrow tea at the
My
moment.
can't believe you just said that. My gosh. This week has been so amazing. Our past few weeks have been so amazing because the women that I've been speaking with are women that have so much similarities with me. And again, like with you, I would never have known you had it not been for the community that we're involved with,
Yeah.
right? And love it, love it. Oh, I was just telling my daughter, I've got yarrow seeds here from my plants in Canberra. I'm hoping it grows here because I've got some of my dried herbs, but I'm not gonna have enough for another 2 years. Oh my goodness. Okay. My tea of choice for today, oh sorry, my cuppa for today is tea as well. It's our Ukon turmeric tea. Love Ukon turmeric tea. It's a great antiviral, antibacterial. It's also great for those that want to detox themselves, right? So if you've had a big meal and you want to just allow yourself to detoxify all the crap that you've eaten, have an Ukon tea because it's amazing. Yarrow, I love yarrow because it's one of those that I've used for my kids, not as tea, but to stop bleeding. I don't know if you've ever used yarrow for nosebleeds. Have you ever heard yarrow for
I have used it on cuts to
and
clean.
cats. Okay. Because I remember my granddaughter was here and her nose started bleeding. And I said, remember when you were a little girl, we would get yarrow from my garden. And what would we do? We'd put it up your nose. I said, are you ready to do that? I had my dried yarrow, which I dried myself. Didn't, some people crush their herbs. I actually try and leave some that are in their original state. As I said, just again, put it up your nose. And it's an amazing, amazing way to stop a nosebleed. So yeah,
That's
anyway,
good
love
to
my
know.
app. So Michelle, thank you for joining us. I really enjoyed this conversation. I hope you guys who are watching us today have heard something that you needed to hear today, have learned something about Michelle's journey and a little bit about my journey with what I've shared today. And do share how you've gone with moving to a new place, reinventing yourself, creating a business, or finding employment, and just connect with us. Thank you again. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you next week with again another amazing couple with Michelle. And again, Michelle, thank you.
Thank you.